What's up, everyone, and welcome to the Bonus Point Rugby Show. My name is TJ Olsen, and we are thrilled to be back for another year bringing you the best content for Super Rugby, MLR, International Rugby, and so much more. We have a very packed show today, but before we get into everything, we have a really big announcement. We are very excited to announce that we have partnered with Island City Media Group, and this show will soon be featured on Island City Radio, powered by Dash. This station and media group is a trusted media platform within Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander communities. And with rugby having such a strong foothold in all these communities, I'm incredibly honored and excited to work with them. I can't wait for you all to see what we have in store for the future. So watch this space and we will update you on our debut on their platform. But like I said, we have a really packed show today, so let's rip in. Super Rugby Pacific is just around the corner, and that's all we're going to talk about today. Our first half segment is going to revolve around squads for this year, including some exciting new additions. Our second half segment is going to be all about who we anticipate our top 4 teams to be for the season. And then our bonus point segment is going to be all about fantasy. I'm not talking about dragons and wizards and all that stuff. The new and improved Super Rugby Fantasy website, where we get to pick our starting 15 each week, has gone live, and we're really excited to show who our team is for round 1. If you're interested in joining our Bonus Point Fantasy League this year, head to the link in our Instagram bio and join our league. That's what we've got in store for you today, so strap in and enjoy our first show of 2025. This is the Bonus Point Rugby Show. Super Rugby is back, and there is more anticipation for this season than I've seen in a long time. And that's not to say that seasons prior to this weren't exciting, but we've had a lot of chop and change during this off-season, which has resulted in a lot of blockbuster signings. We have seen some returns, some re-signings of critical players that have sparked a lot of debate and potential combinations that could be really exciting moving forward. So instead of going through each roster and going through and deep diving, this episode, we're going to focus on the Big Five, and we're going to debate which player is going to make the biggest impact for their teams, and also which team is going to get skyrocketed from this signing or potential addition. So we've got Beauden Barrett rejoining the Blues. Joseph Suaalii, who is now signed to the Waratahs, hasn't played a game yet. James O'Connor joins the Crusaders. Rob Leota also signs with the New South Wales Waratahs. And the biggest signing in the media, Ardie Savea, signing with Moana Pacifica, leaving his longtime team, the Hurricanes. So let's dive in a little bit deeper on each signing before we get to another opinion. Beauden Barrett first, he rejoins the Blues after they have just won the 2024 championship. Barrett is coming into his 15th season, I believe, off top-level rugby, and has just finished his international season being the preferred number 10 for the All Blacks. But Barrett has also never been coached by Vern Cotter before, has a very different style to his predecessor, Leon McDonald, which Barrett played for with the Blues. And there's a lot of competition in his preferred positions with Perifetta, Harry Plummer, Zahn Sullivan at the 10-15 jersey. Barrett is a weapon. No one can argue that, but where will he fit in Vern Cotter's Blues? The next one, Joseph Suaalii, he joins the Waratahs, like I said, having never played in a Super Rugby game before. He made an impressive debut in his Wallabies jersey. He is the biggest question mark out of these 5 signings, though. This young rugby league star has impressed a lot of people with his league career playing for Samoa, for the New South Wales Blues, for the Sydney Roosters. No one can fault his skill level, his brand, his poster boy appeal for Rugby Australia, but his resume in Union is very thin. Can he continue his success from his appearances for the Wallabies and the Autumn Nations and help make Rugby Australia relevant in Super Rugby again? Our next play was a bit of a shock because James O'Connor has gone across the ditch and joined the most successful rugby team in history, the Crusaders. The Crusaders are coming off a very poor 2024 season. They're lacking a lot of experience in that 10-12 channel and also have to spend another year without Richie Mo'unga, who brought them so much success over the years. The big question is James O'Connor the man to bring that experience and help fill part of the void and bring the Crusaders back to their former glory, or at least help them reach the playoffs again? The next signing was Rob Leota with the New South Wales Waratahs as well. The Melbourne Rebels no longer in the competition, and I believe he's 27 years old, joins a very strong and explosive forward pack of the Tars and joins a lot of players he shared a Wallabies locker room with. At this point in his career, Rob Leota has a chance to help build a winning culture with this new crop of players and also the players that are the staples in the Waratahs that have been with that team for a long time. But he has a lot of competition in the back row, and he also has a brand new coach that he's playing for and a brand new coach that is in this system. So we have to see how that particular pick goes. Last one, Ardie Savea, 2023 World Rugby Player of the Year, New Zealand captain as well at some point, former Hurricane standout, has now joined Moana Pacifica, the newest expansion team, where he'll play with his brother Julian. They haven't done that since their Hurricane days a long time ago. You can't fault the 31-year-old back rower's talent, leadership, what he brings as a captain, his determination, like no other player. He's outrageous. He just brings so much to this jersey and to this team. But he also has an uphill battle. He has to make this team relevant in the competition, who have spent a lot of their time as an organization at the bottom of the table. So the big question is, can this addition make them the dark horse to win it all, or at least transition them into a contender, or will it take at least a couple of years, some more additions to really create the change they're looking for? This is all we're thinking about, is the additions to these teams, how they're going to make an impact. And so with that in mind, I think everyone has heard from me enough. So I'd love to bring on another voice on this show who can provide some awesome insight into this very topic. Our next guest was a member of the Melbourne Rebels Rugby Academy before moving over here to the US to play in the MLR, winning a championship with Rugby New York, and more recently playing a season in Carolina with Anthem RC. So I'm very excited to hear about his take on these new signings and much, much more. So please welcome to the show, Joe Basser. Welcome to the show, Joe. How you doing, mate?
Good, mate. Thanks, TJ. Thanks for having me. Good to get on the podcast. I've heard it, listened to it a couple of times, so it's good to be on it now.
Thanks, mate. No, I appreciate it. But before we dive into the show, we get to chat about Super Rugby Pacific and all that stuff, but we're both in America. America had arguably its biggest sports day of the year yesterday, and you're living a short drive away from Philadelphia. So what did you get up to do for the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I did go to a mate's place, had a little Super Bowl party, indulge in the American tradition, buffalo wings, blue cheese dressing, the whole shebang. So had a great time. I was definitely on the Eagles train, so very happy night yesterday. Although I definitely wouldn't want to be in Philadelphia right now. I think if you had a car on the streets right now, you better hope your insurance is up.
Yeah, absolutely not. I saw a few Instagram photos. It's like 6 a.m. in Philadelphia, and it's just like debris everywhere, smashed windows, like cars have got graffiti on them. Yeah, I know that when Philadelphia teams, when they lose, when they win, it doesn't matter. Just everything goes to shambles. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool at the same time, but I think if any city, of all the cities I've been to and seen, they definitely are one of the rowdiest when it comes to winning sports. So it's good. It's good. It's all fun.
Yeah, if you cheered for the Chiefs, you'd probably get a lot of eyes looking at you. Pretty weird if you're an East Coaster. Yeah, but that's it. But let's get down to business, mate. We've had some incredible signings in this past off-season. I'd love to hear your opinion on a lot of it. I know you have like kind of a big connection to Super Rugby and a lot of other things. And I think the first question, before I even touch the signings, you're a big rugby fan, and with the Rebels gone now from the competition, who is your current Super Rugby team? Who are you going to be supporting this season?
It's a very good question. I mean, yeah, growing up in Melbourne, around the Rebels, being involved there and having a lot of mates kind of come up through the system there and play for them, it's pretty sad, but I'm inclined to lean towards a team where I just have the most connection to via players. And so obviously there's a lot of Rebels guys that have gone all over the country. My dad actually played for ACT before they became the Brumbies, before rugby was professional. So I kind of have it as affiliation with the Brumbies. So the Brumbies would probably definitely be my Aussie side, but I have to pick the Drua, I think, is going to be my new team.
Oh, wow. That is not the team that I was expecting you to pick, mate. That's crazy.
Because, well, for a few reasons. They got a great culture, great fan culture. All their home games always seem to be absolutely packed out. So much energy in the stands. But also, I lived with a few of the guys that play for them. So, Giuseppe Tomani, Kemi Valentini are good examples. I lived with them when I was playing in Newcastle back in 2021. And so good mates with those guys, and pretty cool to see those guys doing well there. So yeah, that's that. And I always love, when they pull off a couple underdog wins, it's always huge. And it's kind of, I feel like they're pretty much always everyone's second favorite team. So I'm like, why not make them my favorite team this year? But also the Brumbies, they're still near and dear to the heart. So I think, and they're the closest geographically to Melbourne as well. So
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, no, okay. Well, that's a good point. Well, man, okay, yeah, Fiji definitely a easy team to root for. Like even when you see them, just their vibe and their culture, just all lovely guys. I don't think I've ever met a Fijian in my life who doesn't have a humongous smile on their face, a lovely person to like communicate with. So yeah, awesome. Okay, well, the last question I'm going to ask you before we dive into the signings is, you've now been in a unique position to see two teams kind of evaporate off the earth in professional competitions. Like obviously you're wearing the Ironworkers hat, the OG
R.I.P.
New York.
Rest in peace.
And you also now have your Super Rugby team, the Melbourne Rebels, disappear. So what are your thoughts on getting rid of the Melbourne Rebels? Obviously, it would be good to have that foothold in that area, but does this help improve Australian rugby? Does it hurt it more? What are your thoughts on it?
I'm heavily biased towards Melbourne. I think it's always been underappreciated in terms of the talent that comes out of Melbourne. I think from a financial perspective, I can understand it a bit more, especially in the later years of the Rebels. It just wasn't many people going to games, and it gets to a point where you just have to cut your losses. So I imagine that was pretty difficult. I know there was a lot of chat around that acquisition or new funding, new ownership group coming in with the Rebels and basing them in kind of western suburbs of Melbourne. I really like the idea of that because Melbourne is quite unique in the rugby sense that it's not as heavily dominated by private schools and the kind of more wealthy or more affluent families that put their kids into rugby. It's the Polynesian community, the Pacific community in Melbourne is really the driving force of rugby, especially after you finish school. And I witnessed that firsthand, just playing club rugby there, and growing up there playing club rugby as well. And especially in those western suburbs, there's huge Pacifica population and there's a lot of talent that comes out of there, and a lot of players that actually a lot of people don't realise are from Melbourne. And they might not necessarily have been playing for the Rebels, but they're playing for other teams. Like even if you look at like guys like Pete Samu, Rob Valentini, who have never played for the Rebels, but they're both Melbourne boys. Sione Tuipulotu, he's a very good example. He did have a few games for the Rebels, but, underappreciated, went to Japan, then went to Scotland, and has since, history has been made, and he's been the captain. So I think it's sad from the sense of talent. I hope that there's still pathways for those guys, but it just makes it harder because they have to move into state to progress. But I think, ultimately it was obviously a financial decision, which is a shame because just Melbourne is just so competitive in terms of sport. And there's just so many AFL teams. There's the Storm, obviously. There's a couple A-League teams. So there's just, so much competition. It's so saturated there that it's hard to compete. But a lot of talent, and there's actually a few academies that it's called Academy Movement. This Kiwi guy, Jimmy Orange, he runs these school academies in public schools in Melbourne, and they've been thriving. There's been, a massive boost in terms of these kids' academic records and their rugby talents being nurtured a lot. So I hope that all those kids, and that's been expanding a lot, have a pathway to follow because, they could be the next Rob Leota or what have you.
Well, speaking of Rob Leota, he is one of the guys that we're going to talk about in a moment. So let's get down to business. I mean, incredible signings in the past off season. I want to hear your opinion on all of them and who you think is going to make the biggest impact. We're going to stay with like the big five because we could be here forever on guys that have signed in and out and have left and gone. But we've got Artie Salvia with Moana Pacifica. Joseph Suali'i, who's signed with the Tars, obviously big impact from the Wallabies coming off that. Rob Leota, like you said, also signing with the Tars. Bowden Barrett returning from overseas to rejoin the Blues. And a kind of a dark horse one, which was James O'Connor heading to the Crusaders across the ditch. He does have some ties to New Zealand with his family. So I think that one is going to be very interesting. But if you think of those 5 signings and heading to those teams, which one do you really think is going to have the biggest impact on that team that they're joining?
I think it has to be Artie Salvia. Not only from a playing perspective, but from just like a team culture and a following perspective. He brings so much, I don't know, aura, you could say.
Yeah, I agree with that word. That's a great word to use.
Yeah, and like he has a big following. He, really wants to give back to his roots in the Pacific community, and he's a bit of an icon in terms of that. And he's also one of the best players in the world. One Player of the Year. So not only he's going to be really good on the field, that kind of speaks for itself. You just watch every All Blacks game he's ever played in. But I think he has there's other guys that, are going to have big impacts on the field, but I think he's going to have a massive impact off the field. And I hope that he attracts, some more big name talent. You've also got another burn boy, Pone Fa'amasuli, coming into the Moana Pacifica as well. I'm a big fan of him. So hopefully he stays injury free, but and supports those boys. And another one of my mates, Ola Tuolangi, is playing there. But I think Artie, he's going to do big things, I hope.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think from a perspective, a lot of people were a bit concerned on him being inserted into the team and going straight into that captaincy role. But I think with its kind of new kind of horizons of what they're looking to do as an expansion team, I think that was the best decision for him once he got signed. He does bring, like you said, a lot of leadership, a lot of firepower. And I think the reasoning behind it as well, he's wanting to come back to connect with his cultural ancestry. I think there was a quote that he was saying is like, I don't chase titles, I chase courage. And I think when you look at the team that they've got at the moment, they've got a lot of courage. They've got a lot of young guys that are really hungry, really proud of their roots as well. And I think they can kind of go off that with his captaincy. I do also think having his brother within that team as well is going to make a big impact. Like Jules is obviously on the back end of his career, but he still can be also a voice of leadership. And you've got a few other guys in there that can really play a role in this team. Will they be a top 8 team? That's kind of the big question mark is will his impact and his firepower bring them up to that much? But yeah, I think from an impact perspective, I can't fault you on that one. It's going to be.
Do you know if this is the first time that Julian and Artie have played together professionally?
Hurricanes when they used to play. I think when they used to play for the Hurricanes, but that was the interesting one though, is like I think from a starting perspective, I don't think they were in the starting team very often. Like I think when Julian was on his rise, Artie was within the Hurricanes and he was kind of either coming off the bench because they had a lot of back rowers and players like that. And he also went to go play for the Sevens to try and crack the Olympics and things like that. So I think from that perspective, I think this is the first time in a long time they've played in like starting roles that they're going to be playing, because I don't think anyone's going to, beat out Julian Savia for like a 12 jersey at the moment with how he's playing in provincial rugby. And I think also, no one's going to really have a crack unless there are injury woes with Artie taking his position out. But so I think that'll really come into play. And I think they'll do a really good job together leading the team. So let's kind of flip the question there. If you were to think about which team is going to have the biggest rise with the signing, who would you say would be? So out of those 5, Joseph, Artie, Rob, Bodie, and James O'Connor, which team do you think is really going to take a big increase?
I'll probably say the Crusaders because they have the lowest floor from last season. And I think that with, there was a lot of player change, a lot of personnel change, new coach. They have a season behind them. I think they'll probably be the most improved and James O'Connor's a pretty good player. I think in that environment, especially, he'll do really well. So I'd put my money on the Crusaders having a much better year. I mean, it's the Crusaders. Like, it was very uncharacteristic last year. I don't know where the blame lies. I think a lot of people would probably point to Rob Penny just because he's the biggest change in terms of the staff, but they lost a lot of players as well. So I don't think it was just him. And so I think he has the most potential there to change the Crusaders in general have the most potential to be the most improved team.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think you've got a lot of potential with the players that are coming back into the fold, and I think with Taha Kimura and also David Havili being actually pretty healthy at the moment, you've got a lot of competition in that 10, 12 jersey, and I think with James O'Connor being able to play 10, 12, 15, probably not going to chuck him on the wing anymore. His 18-year-old days are well over, but I think, you've got a strong argument with that. I personally think, even though I think James O'Connor will make a really big impact in this team from a experience standpoint, I think Rob Leota potentially signing with the Tars is going to kind of make a lot of waves, and I think that's going to push the Tars really forward. I think you've got a lot of other guys that are competing for jerseys, like you got Charlie Gamble, you got a few other guys that are really strong back row.
Lungy Gleeson.
Yeah, Lungy Gleeson as well. I think Rob Leota is probably going to be that one extra guy with the experience that he brings from being captain of the Rebels and coming in and just adding that little niggle to make sure that the guys are just competing even harder for that jersey.
Yeah, definitely.
Easy. Okay, well, we know that rugby is a team sport, so let's stop chatting about the individuals and let's start chatting about the team standing. So what I want to do is for the top 4 teams that we're going to pick, I want to go back and forth. So we'll start with number 1 and we'll work our way down to number 4, because I kind of have a feeling that 1, 2, maybe 3, we might be on the same page. I don't know. You might throw a couple of spanners towards me and throw me off my game. But if you were to pick your number 1 team, who would you say that would be?
I think it has to be the Blues, personally.
Okay.
It's I don't know. It's a tough. I think especially with Bowden coming back, they're already a stacked team, and then they get the addition of one of the best players.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bit of a hack, I think. So it's a bit of a cop-out choice. It's an obvious one, but I think it's hard to. If I was putting money on it, I'd probably say the Blues.
I mean, it's not a bad thing to put money on, but like I'm going back and forth with it every single day because I'm thinking about it. Super Rugby's coming up. Like obviously we're going to chat a little bit about fantasy later, but I'm a huge Chiefs fan, and the fact that like the Blues have won their title, I can't pick them as one. It's just like I try to take bias out of it, and even though with Bowden coming into it, I'm sitting there going, no, I just can't bring myself to put them as number 1 because I've seen them a few times saying that they're going to come out, they're going to have this revelation season. The one thing that I feel like as a Chiefs fan, we're taking bias out of it. I think seeing them as runners up for 2 years in a row, I think they've got a lot of young and electric talent coming through. They've still got McKenzie, Finau, Jacobson, Vai, Staples in their team. And I think losing Satiti is going to really hurt, but I think the Chiefs going to get it done, even if I turn out and I'm going to be 100% wrong, I'm just going to put them as my number 1 team, and I'm just going to take the fight.
Yeah, fair enough. I like the Chiefs as well. They're usually my favorite Kiwi team, especially with D-Mac. He's just so good to watch.
So good. You better not be saying that just to get on my good side. I really hope you tune it. Nah, just kidding. Well, my number 2 team was going to be the Hurricanes this season. I'll explain why in a little bit before they get bumped down a little bit down the road in our chat. But I'm going to go the Blues in that second spot. I think all the things that you stated, Blues are Super Rugby champions. Hoskins had an incredible year as the breakout player. Still can't believe he missed All Black selections, but we're stacked with back rowers. Bodie coming back as well, and Vern Cotter being such a tremendous coach. I think the only thing that I really feel like is going to be the interesting portion is Bowden coming back and never playing for Vern Cotter and having played so much time this past year at 10. I think with Perifetta, Plummer, who's obviously going to head off eventually, and Sullivan and those 10, 15 jerseys, there's going to be a lot of competition there. I don't think you can ever look at Bowden and go, he's not going to be my starting team, but I think it's going to be up to where he plays and where the other guys go. So that's my reason for putting them at number 2. They're still a stacked team, and that hurts me to say, but it's going to be interesting to see them play.
Yeah. Well, I had the flip of you. I was going to put Chiefs second. They had a really good start, like first half of the season last year, I remember, and I thought they were going to win, and then they kind of started to drop a little bit. I mean, they were still super competitive right through the end, but obviously, yeah, I think that I'd prefer them to win, honestly, than the Blues. I mean, the Blues won last year, so I would back the Chiefs and D-Mac with taking the reins.
D-Mac's so good. I can't
Luke
wait to watch
Jacobson
him
as well. A lot of good players there.
I think the only other thing that's bringing me a little bit of joy is it took the Blues how long to get their title since 2000 or something. So I'm just gonna sit and harp on that for a long time. But third choice, who are you picking for your third team?
I want to pick an Australian team. So my number one Australian teams, I have to go the Brumbies. They've kind of consistently been the best Australian team for the last few years. Yeah, pretty similar squad. They've lost a few guys, but I think they've got just very consistent. A lot of talent, especially kind of in the centers there. Len Ikitau, really good. Noah Lolesio as well, and I think really underrated players Ryan Lonergan. He's never got a cap, I don't think, for the Wallabies, but he's been in the squad like 5-6 times or something. So super unlucky there, and that means I think that just pushes him to work even harder, and he's quite a leader in that team. And I think maybe he could. I think this year he could go up and get his first cap. Hopefully, I think he's deserved it. So I thought the Brumbies number 3. I think.
See, this is where it splits. I also really want to like agree with you, because the Hurricanes was going to be my third ranked team, but they've lost so many players in the past, I think, month or two, where I can't put them at 3. So I think I might have to agree with you, as the Brumbies will have to be 3. I think with Noah Lolesio is kind of on his rise again, and I think Super Rugby is really where he flourishes. When he goes to the Wallabies, he can be a weapon, but he's just been a bit inconsistent. And I agree. Ikitau is a freak. He's so talented. You've got Valentini and Alan Alatoa as like your experience. You've also got Tom Wright as well. Andy Muirhead.
He's been playing so well for the Wallabies, Tom Wright.
Oh, mate, so well. Like you look at probably some of the best players to come out of the Wallabies in the last 10 years. Like Tom Wright's got to be up there with how much firepower he's got and just how evasive he is when he's on the field. Like there was one game I watched, I can't remember which specific test it was, but he was in front of 3 defenders and just ran around every single one. He's just an absolute freak. So yeah, I think if I have to choose third, I'll probably go the Brumbies as well. They've just been so consistent as that Aussie team for so long. They've got to have a crack, and I think they'll definitely make top 4. Who you got as your 4th? All right, this will be the interesting one.
Yeah. This is tough. I want to say, I feel like I got to put another. I probably have to put another Kiwi team in there. It's tough. The other Australian teams, I actually really don't know. I think the Waratahs are going to improve a lot. I think Dan McKellar's a really good coach, and they've got a bunch of good talent that's come up from Melbourne. But it's still, I can't put them that high based on so much change and fluctuation. I mean, so much coaching change and player change never tends to result in like consistent performance. So I'll probably say the Highlanders.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Potentially. That's a little curveball, maybe.
That's a humongous curveball, but I'll take it. I mean, South Island, they've had a terrible run over the past like 3 or 4 years, but I feel like there's always one team. There's always one team in Super Rugby that you go, oh, they're going to do terribly, and they just flip the script.
I think, and they didn't do that. Like, they were still like middle of the table last year at the end, so they're still above a lot of other teams. But I think with all with a lot of losses to the Canes, I think they'll actually be their kind of 3rd Kiwi team now. Sorry, 4th Kiwi team. So I think the Highlanders, they got Jonah Reki's back from injury.
Yeah.
I always liked him. Jacob, how do you say his Rashamatakavi Neepins?
Neekins, man. Yeah, I remember it took me probably about a year to try and pronounce that name correctly, and I still can't do it consistently.
He's a gun. Well, actually, Will Tucker is in the squad. I'm not sure if he's playing. He played with me at the Ironworkers, so I always have a bit of bias there towards him. He's a good man.
I feel like the guy that always is like the one that I always want to see succeed is Fakatava as well. Like now he's taken over that.
Yeah.
That 9 jersey, he's just electric.
Yeah, he's really, really good. When he's on, he's real big game breaker. So hopefully has a consistent year because he's had a couple injuries here and there, I think. So
yeah, the season that I watched him play where he didn't even have an ACL and he still was just ripping people to shreds. I'm like, if you can do that with one knee, like imagine what you can do with two. So we'll see what's going on over there. But yeah, no, I think it was going to be the Hurricanes at number 4 with all the losses. I can't put them there. I think they'll still make top 8 toward the back end and they'll just bring some players back and go from there. I also wanted to say the Tars, but I agree. I think everybody was saying that last year. It was you had all these players join. You had DC become on as coach. Like there were so many things that were going right and then it just went so wrong.
So wrong.
So I think I might go your boys. I think the Fijian Drua, I think I might pick them as my number 4 because if you look at their rise over since they've joined Super Rugby, they've just always gone up. And I got to see like some of the younger players play on the Rugby Network against RFCLA when they had the test match, and it was looking very interesting to see if their young players can keep that consistency and they keep their core nucleus, they just keep doing what they're doing. And I think as long as they fix their kick game and they play a little bit more territory, they stay consistent on defense, I think they can definitely crack top 4, but it's all going to be making a good start at the start of the season.
The thing I love about them is they can beat any team on their day, especially at home. So it's like so unpredictable. There's always excitement about the game because you never really know what's going to happen, especially when they're playing in Nadi or something. So yeah, it's
so hot there.
Exactly.
That's why
and now
when the Crusaders played, they were just like, "Oh, I'm dying out here. Like it's just I can't play."
Yeah.
Oh God.
The LA boys seem that they look like they had an amazing time there. So I don't think they can complain too much. But yeah, I mean, when they're there training in that weather week in, week out, the whole preseason there, running those dunes, they get used to it, so it becomes a big competitive advantage.
It's insane, yeah. So that's kind of my dark horse for my first 4 spot, but yeah, we'll see. I know Super Rugby can be very, very interesting when it comes to like the first part of the season. A lot of things that you think can go one way, they just go completely sideways. So we'll see what goes on with that. But we're at our back end. We're at the bonus point segment. So we are going to chat everything fantasy. So I know I'm probably going to share on the recording what our team's going to look like. I'll chuck it up in a little bit of video editing, but I want to go through your team because you've made some pretty good selections and it's made me question a lot of mine. I think we have very similar selections. Like we both select Tokiaho at our hooker. So that's one selection that we've got. We've both selected Cam Roygard and Damien McKenzie at our 9 and 10. Sualii's in there. And I picked Corey Toole originally, but then I took him out because I needed to save some cap space. So that's going to be the one. But talk me through your front row. 2 Tars front rowers. What are your thoughts on that one?
Well, first of all, Isaac, he's one of my boys, so I just put him in there.
You got to support your mate. So he's
also good. He's very good. He had his debut season for the Wallabies, proper Melbourne burn boy, we call him through and through. So yeah, played with him a while ago, and he's a great man. And yeah, he's been just his rugby development has just been going up and up and up. He's been getting better and better, and his confidence has clearly been improving, and I think he'll come off the back of that Wallaby season and be a really consistent prop for the Tars, and he comes at a great discount. So
yeah,
it's actually I think he's great value for money in in my squad here for round one. And then obviously Takiyaho is just a beast. So I think his ability to rack up some good fantasy stats is good. And then Angus Bell, I think he is one of the best props I've ever seen. That game he had against England, I think it was, in the last spring tour, and he had the most defenders beaten of a prop for a Wallaby in, like, I don't know, a long time. I can't remember how long it was.
I remember that game. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, he like knocked out Ben Curry. He's just putting off fans. He's got such great footwork. He's such a dynamic ball carrier. I would have loved to put Nella in there. I think I saw you've got Nella.
I've got Nella. Yeah.
I do love him. He comes at a bit more of a cost, and I think Bell and Nella is going to be a great partnership. And then you have Kalea in there as well to either he might come off the bench or Nella come off the bench. I don't know how it works, but he offers a lot more kind of consistency, and I think Nella needs to get some of that back. So yeah, that's my front row.
Yeah, I feel like it'll be pretty interesting. Yeah, I think Angus Bell, if he's not getting carded, he's definitely an impact. Like he's not getting penalised or yellow carded, he's great. But yeah, mate, you can't knock him. He's one of the most impactful Australian players at the moment. When he's healthy and when he's playing well, you can't fault him. But now I'm moving down to your second row. Again, I'm very disappointed that you've got both Patrick and Scott Barrett in there. Like who did I pick for my Aussie one? Let me see if I can pull it up. I've got Fabian Holland, which is still a quality lock from the Highlanders, but I think I also made that decision for cap space, and I got Scott Barrett as well. But do you think Patrick and Scott are going to bring you a lot of fantasy points? I mean, they're arguably two of the best, if not the best locks in the competition at the moment.
I think they were the two top ones on the.
You're just like selecting and then just working it around. Yeah.
I was pretty tempted to put Nick Frost in there. As he's a little bit more dynamic, but Scott Barrett's a workhorse, just like ultra fit, racks up. I don't know I actually haven't looked into what stats cause what scoring and how
that's what I got to look at. I'll do a little bit of research while you're going through your back row. But yeah, talk me through your back row. So like obviously you've got your burn boy Leota in there.
Yeah, exactly.
From Melbourne. You've got Larkai, who's an absolute weapon, and Pupley. Talk me through why not choosing other back rowers. Are there a couple other guys that you were thinking about doing? Or
well, I definitely probably would have had McWright in there if the Reds were playing round one, because he's Aussie. Obviously I like him, but he's such a dynamic, gets around the park so well. I think he would rack up a lot of stats on either side of the ball. So then Papa Lee's also, he's really good attacking number 7, so I think he's always going to get some good run mares, and also just as a All Black 7, it's got to be a defensive weapon as well. Rob Leota as well, just super physical, but also a good line-out option. So I think depending on how the line-out scoring works, he adds some of that skill in the back row. And then Peter Lakai is just like he's guaranteed to beat a couple defenders almost every carry. So I wanted to have some serious firepower in there. He's electric.
Doing pretty well. Yeah, I think from the only reason I picked Hoskins instead of Leota or Pupley, I think just he's had such a good breakout season that I think he's just going to do it again. I think he's going to be hungry based on the fact that he didn't get picked in the All Blacks team, so he's probably going to come out firing. And I think with Artie, this one is going to be a very interesting selection on my behalf, because I just tried looking on the website. It doesn't really tell you how much into how they score points. It just says you can score points through your players. And I was like, oh, that's helpful. But Artie Savia, he's a guy that is going to probably carry a lot of the team, but also it's all going to be dependent on the pieces around him as well. So that's where kind of the question mark comes from, is like, is he going to get the platform he needs from his set piece and from his phase play with the players around him where he can do the things that he needs, or is he going to get shut down because he's going to be one of the bigger weapons? So I don't know. I'm backing that he's just going to be dominant in just his overall gameplay and hoping that works out. But we'll definitely see.
Yeah, it's tough when you're not being. Yeah, it's tough with the guys around you. I think Artie will have a bit of a tougher year with that, but he's still hardy. So at the end of the day.
All right, let's jump down. This will be our last one. We'll chat about the back three because I've got Sevu Reece, I've got Kellaway. I think I chose him because he is electric, but also for cap space. And Tava Nawai. You've got Corey Toole, Will Jordan, and I'm not even going to try and pronounce his last name.
Yeah, I was hoping you would say it.
Nah, mate, it's like good luck with me trying to pronounce that correctly. I feel sorry for some of the commentators, like when they do some of the, I guess the NPC games or some of them where they've got the Long Island names. I sit back and I'm like, better you than me, mate. I'm not even going to try.
Yeah.
So walk me through. Do you think if you're got Corey Toole against Sevu Reece, who are you picking?
Well, Sevu Reece is obviously got the experience. He's also just a freak athlete as well. But I really like this kind of rise of pocket rocket wingers that you're seeing in global rugby. Like Cheslin Colby is the prime example of that. And Corey Toole, I think, is like Australia's one, and he's kind of been on the verge of Wallaby selection. He's always has the last few years has had really good. I think this could be another big season for him. And yeah, really, he's so quick, really agile, super hungry. Always finds a line. Will Jordan is just a try magnet. You know, he's broken some crazy records with his try scoring ability. So I don't really have I guess in those back three. Well, Jordan plays a bit of fullback for sure, so that's why I've got him there. And then, yes, I'm not going to say his name either, but super powerful runner. He's just one of those some of those Fijian wingers. It's just it's a factory of beasts and serious athletic talent. And I think he's the best case of that, the Drua squad at the moment. So, and I want to have one of the Drua guys in there. So,
yeah, that's not a bad idea. I probably need to chop and change some stuff and get at least one Drua player in there so I can get some firepower. But yeah, okay, perfect. I can't fault you. I think the last one I'll talk to you about is like Cam Roygaard and Damien McKenzie. They speak for themselves. They're just absolute weapons. But Iki Tau and Sua Lee, do you think that could potentially be the 12-13 pairing for the next couple of years in the Wallabies?
I think so. I hope so. I mean, they played a few tests together already.
Mm-hmm.
In the spring series, sorry, and they were both really, really good. And Sua Ali, that was just the beginning for him. So I think he's now got a full preseason with the Tars. He's got a lot more time playing union back under. I know he grew up playing whatever, all that jazz, as a lot of those guys do, but it's, playing in high school, it's completely different to playing Super Rugby or international level, and he's already really dominant at international level, just from a physical perspective. So I think he seems to be really switched on, are really good. He's really looks after himself really well and takes the game really seriously. It seems like a really good kid. So I think sky's the limit for him, honestly. 100%. And then Lenny Katau, he's already had a few years of just great footwork, great skills. That try that he set up for the Wallabies where he did that fend and the flick pass, just insane. So, yeah.
Yeah, ridiculous. Okay, all right. Well, let's hope that Kellaway brings me some good points in the round against the Highlanders, because I know I definitely pick Will Jordan over Andrew Kellaway. But yeah, that's how it goes.
Kells is a gun though, and he was pretty. He didn't cost that much. I saw him on the list, so I probably would have gone for him.
He's good, and I think especially with the Waratahs and the amount of weapons they have, like if Joseph's playing the way he did, he's confident. I mean, and he's not like all other leagueies that come into Union. Like he's very straight edge. He's very switched on, like you said, and he's just ready to rip in and so much talent. So yeah, awesome. Well, if anybody's interested in joining the Bonus Point Fantasy League, head to the link in our Instagram bio and you can join our league. But that's the episode, mate. Thank you so much for jumping on. I really appreciate you having a yarn with me about upcoming Super Rugby season and chatting a little bit about all the chops and changes that have been going on. So yeah, any final words before I let you go?
No, thanks TJ. Thanks for having me on. It's been good. I'm also excited for the MLR season starting next week as well. But yeah, definitely be watching a lot of rugby to watch starting next week. So, and the Six Nations, who can forget about that? So yeah, exciting times.
We're spoiled for choice. It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in. I really appreciate it. We will see you next week. And like I stated at the top of the episode, stay tuned for this new partnership that we're going to be working with Island City Media. Very excited to get onto that radio station and media platform. And the sky is the limit for also this podcast. So have an awesome day, and we will see you next time.